So you get your sword and your shield. Mido says, "What? How did you get a sword and shield before I did?" He's like, "Fine, you can go see the Deku Tree." And that takes us to a new location. Where might that be?
The Deku Tree.
Wow, the Deku Tree. What do you guys... Okay, let me just describe the Deku Tree. He's kind of like your grandpa's face in a tree.
Pretty much.
My grandpa is not a tree. He's more of a bush.
I don't think it's the Deku Bush. But with that being said, it's like kind of this elder. You know him as kind of like the grandfather to like the Kokiri children. You know,
It's kind of weird.
Yes, because he gives life to all the Kokiri childs or whatever. They can never leave the forest. But you hear that he's been plagued recently, and he requires Link to get the parasite out of him. Not to be confused.
So
with
basically, you're an
Parasite.
exterminator.
Yeah.
A regular Donkey Kong 3. Guys, talk to me about the Great Deku Tree.
I think it's similarly to the Kokiri Forest area. It's another like good tutorial dungeon. It has all the elements that you find later in the game. You know, the basic puzzles. You know, where you have to use fire to ignite the torches, and I think it's a perfect tutorial area and a good preparation for the dungeons to come later in the game.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect starting dungeon. Like, this might be the quintessential starting mission or something for any game ever. It's like you integrate it into the story. It's not really that puzzle laden, but it does tell you that each dungeon will follow a path that you have to kind of do this to get to this, etc. So it's not very hard, but it teaches you the ropes. And it's got a memorable, boss, and it just the location just feels natural. So I absolutely, this is just perfect for me.
Also,
Quiz
it's not long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty short. I was gonna say quiz question. What is the code to get in the towards the boss battle?
Bing, bing, bing. It's 231.
Yes, sir.
I'm banning myself from any further quiz questions. Did you know that? Well, okay. Before I get to did you know, you guys know how in like Mario 64, like if you got like the wing cap and Bob on Battlefield, you feel like you could just tear shit up.
Yeah.
Like this game with the Deku Tree, it's like vice versa. I feel like, and I was reading a little bit into it last night from some developers. One thing Eiji Aonuma says about one of the purposes of Zelda, and this came later, like in Wind Waker production, is that Zelda strives to achieve reality versus realism. And what he means by that is that, sometimes video games as a medium try to be realistic and portray things, in real life, like, crime or etc. That's realism. But with Zelda, they try to achieve reality, despite it being a fantasy, where everything you experience in the game feels real. When I play the Deku Tree, or when I get inside the Deku Tree and I'm scaling the walls, I feel like this is so real because there's this genuine threat of like me falling, or like when you're at the top of the Great Deku Tree and it's like you don't really know where to go. There's a giant cobweb in the middle, and then you kind of experiment, and then you try and fall, but you try and avoid the cobweb. The danger feels so real in the Great Deku Tree.
Yeah, when I think of that, I'm thinking like Final Fantasy would be the counter to that, where it's like they have characters that jump into the air and have like sword fights while flying. Like this goes the complete opposite way. Like if you were there, this is what you would do.
It's bound by like human physics in a way.
Right. Yeah.
But it still tinkers with this idea of being a fantastical world with these fantastic creatures. Such as the Walchulas, the Deku Scrubs.
Oh, yeah.
And Deku Babas.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys like the monsters in this first dungeon?
Creepy. I don't like spiders, so
Oh, you're one of those?
yeah.
My boy JD has arachnophobia. So there's like most Zeldas he ended up not being able to finish just because they have spiders in them.
Well, no, I'm not that scared of them, but I just don't like them.
Well, fortunately for you, this game is littered with 99 golden Skulltulas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I like the enemies. Again, it lends itself to being inside of a tree. You'd think there might be some insects in a rotting piece of wood. Yeah, I think it's cool. And good foreshadowing because of all the spider webs.
Yeah,
You gotta,
they're all
burn
over
it down.
the wall, right?
Yeah.
Even at one point, there's like these mini spiders, or I don't know what they're called. They're like these little larva thing on the ceiling, and you can hear them like moving around as you go to the basement of the Deku Tree.
What's in the basement of the Deku Tree, though?
Well,
Therein lies the parasitic armored arachnic Goma,
dun dun dun.
aka Crazy Eyes. Yeah, that's the boss battle, and I thought it was well designed. Again, it's in typical Zelda fashion. It kind of forces you to use the item that you got for that dungeon. So you use the items to hit the eye. That's a weak point, and it's a good entry boss battle. I thought.
I think so too. What item is that, Chris?
It's the slingshot, and yeah, you basically get to be like Dennis the Menace.
I've never owned a slingshot. I've been interested in one.
I never have either.
I think there was a way to. I just defeated the boss in the regular conventional way using the slingshot, but wasn't there a way to, like, if you used like the Deku Nuts to like stun him or something? I think there was like an alternative way to defeat the boss, but I can't remember.
I've never done it like that.
Are you saying that Zelda was the first game to have multiple options in terms of progression? I think that's what you're saying, right?
No, I think there was.
I'm just kidding. No, I didn't know that, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think there was like a different way to beat the boss. I think, from what I remember, but I typically just beat him, the conventional way.
Yeah, I guess we all use the slingshot.
Yep.
That's what I use.
This is also an area where, just kind of like a did you know moment. This is did you know where a lot of speedrunners tend to exploit part of the map in order to go straight to Ganondorf.
Serious?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right in Goma's area.
How do you... What?
Chris, you know what I'm talking about?
I kind of do. I know. I've actually done a speedrunning trick for what was it, Link to the Past, where you can literally save your game and exit while jumping off a specific spot, and that takes you right to the end of the game. So I'm not really surprised that this game has something like that.
Crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know there's a huge following or speedrun community out there for this game, and they're always competing to get the world record and whatnot. But it's been a while since I watched one of those speedruns, but they're always interesting to see what tricks they come up with.
I think it's sacrilege though, because there's so much goodness still to come.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's about it for the Deku Tree.
Speaking of sacrilege, you got to go to a castle pretty soon that has a temple in it, but you're gonna skip that and go to the castle.
All right.
You gotta get through. You gotta get through the second boss first, the owl. When you exit.
You got to beat the shit out of that owl.
Button mash your way through the dialogue. Kapora, Gaypora.
Mm-hmm.
Asshole. Yeah, I don't know. As you exit the Deku Tree dies, and it basically says, "Link, it's up to you. Save the children. You are the fate of Hyrule." And so you go on your way. Maito stops you. He's like, "You asshole! You killed the Deku Tree." But not before you get the spiritual stone of the forest. You're on your way out. This little girl, Saria, we kind of glossed over her before, stops you as you are leaving the Kokiri Forest. It's kind of a big moment because the Kokiri don't leave the forest. It's kind of like the Never Never Land of Zelda, where if you leave the forest, you it's not that you just grow up, but you become like a skull kid in the Lost Woods and you like lose your personality. Something like that, anyways. And you are kind of like
I think Saria wants your Deku nuts.
And the stick too.
Oh!
Hey!
Hey y'all, don't forget to subscribe to them button mappers.